Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone. In both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. Bah! OBS Chan seems to be working just fine. Let's hop into this, shall we? Shion? Is that Shion? Imagine if someone made a higurashi mod for Halo or Shadow of War. K-chan. Is that you, K-chan? I ran over to the cell. White hands were peeking out through the gaps in the bars. It really was her. Are you alright, Shion? Are you hurt? No. No! Shion's face twisted out of shape as she screamed. It was because Mion had appeared right behind me. Of course, Shion didn't know that everything was over yet. Yes, everything's over. Calm down, Shion. Everything's already over. Everything? I spoke in as calm a voice I could manage, trying to soothe the agitated Shion. However, it didn't seem like it was getting through her screams. Shion? How have you been? No more, please. No more. I don't want to see anyone else die. If you hate me, then just kill me already. I'm the one you hate, right? Kill me. Kill me right now, sis. Calm down, Shion. It's all over now. It's going to be alright. So calm down. Shion, who was screaming and rattling the iron bars back and forth, was truly in a frantic state. She is going to need therapy after this. I gave a slight shrug of resignation, giving way to Mion. I had realized that if Mion was the one who locked her in here, and if Mion was the one who had scared Shion this much, then Mion was also the one who could put an end to this. I don't think whether whoever's inside the cell and whoever it is that's outside the cell, I don't think the person who caused the trauma is the person who would even be capable of alleviating it or comforting it anyway. At that point, that does not help. Mion spoke from over my shoulder, quietly. Relax. I won't kill you. No, I won't kill you just yet. Laughter noises. She burst out into a bizarre laugh as if trying to make Shion's madness even worse. Shion broke out into a fierce shiver, brought on by that laugh, and rattled the iron bars as she wailed. Please, stop! Don't kill K-chan. K-chan has nothing to do with this, does he? If you're going to kill someone, then kill me right now. I don't want anyone else to die. Ah ha 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 ha. If you want to die that badly, then after I've killed this man, I'll take my time making mincemeat out of you, in accordance with the ancient rites. I'll do it slowly, starting with your extremities. Hey, K-chan! Why are we doing the Dragon Ball Z right now? Why are we doing a Dragon Ball Z? You know that thing where we just stand there and let Frieza power up and let the person do their transformation? We're just standing there as the person is explaining that they're going to murder both of us. We need to be taking some sort of initiative during this monologue. Why are we allowing the villain to monologue about how they're going to murder us? very badly murder us. Not a nice murder. Not a nice murder at all. You know, why are we letting the villain power up? Why are we waiting for the monologue? Why are we not taking initiative and catching them off guard? I'll shave you down and mince you. I had that mincing machine set up specifically for you, after all. Or would it be funnier if I were to mince up Kei-chan in front of you? Hey, quit it already. What do you have to gain by scaring her at this point? I mean, unless you're planning to do it. No, Kei-chan, run away. It's almost like it was incredibly stupid to walk into the forest, let alone an abandoned mine shaft tunnel system bomb shelter with a serial killer. I tried to rebuke Mion for flinging terrible words at her this late in the game. Honestly, out of everything that whoever is standing in front of me has done, this is probably the least terrible thing that they have done. There are so many other things. Like, I can't assume that they just, oh yeah, Rika and Satoko were killed painlessly. Like, no. No, that's unlikely. Like, I feel like we're not really behaving in a logical way, Keiichi. By the way, let me know in the comments. What would all of you have done if you were a Keiichi? At any point in the story? Let alone, would you walk into the fucking woods / mine shaft alone with the serial killer who has murdered several people that were your closest friends? And her closest friends. But when I turned around, Mion's mouth, so much so that it was hard to believe, had twisted in the shape even thinner than a crescent moon. It was a smile. I could sense it like a jolt of electricity. Oh yeah, killing intent. The person here wasn't my best friend Mion. It wasn't the Mion Sonozaki who had been tossed about by our heavy duty of succeeding the Sonozaki family either. Then, who was she? Ba-bam! I saw sparks fly before my eyes, like what happens when you get hit in the back of the head. The strength of my body drained instantly, and my head became heavy. How did I get hit in the head if I was looking at her? My knees buckled under the temptation to hit the floor. Then my whole body abruptly collapsed. My face should have hit the floor, but it was comfortable, as if I had fallen onto a down-filled futon. My consciousness reeled, then receded. It was kind of sensation like if you took a nap in the car, but you were still half awake and could listen to your parents talking as if they were far away. No, you wouldn't be listening, you would only be hearing it. It was happening so far away and the conversation was completely unrelated to you. So you would have no interest in it. So whether Shion was yelling in my ears, or Mion was in vulgar hysterics, I didn't think it was annoying, nor did it interest me. Now then, I wonder how I should go about preparing you. Oh yes, what do you think about a bed of nails? I tested on those two little brats, but their hands were too small for the restraining table. Ah, let's do that, ha 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 ha. Mion held me up from the behind and dragged me across the floor. The soles of my feet scraped on it, and one of my shoes fell off. No, please stop, sis, please, stop. Shion's emotions exploded outward, and she burst into bitter weeping. As if her crying had whetted Mion's interest, she held me flung down and returned to the prison cell again. Ma, you sure can cry with a cute voice, can't you? Your unnatural bravado was making my skin crawl, but this definitely suits you the best. Mion, my big sister, I beg you. Okay, so it definitely is Shion. So this is the timeline where Mion's the one that went psycho. Like I said, Higurashi's the musical chairs of everyone takes turns being insane. Literally everyone in this entire story has their own story arc or anime where they kill everyone else. It's just Mion's turn. I don't care how you choose to kill me, but please at least let Kei-chan go. I'm begging you. Shion had always acted as though she were a cut above her older sister. That Shion. In such a miserable voice that I couldn't have imagined it during those peaceful times, prostrated herself before the older sister she used to scoff at and pleaded forgiveness. Mion looked down with an expression of cool indifference. One was that plainly smiling with joy. You know, I wasn't planning on listening to your petty wishes. The way you're crying, though, is just too funny. I think maybe I'll change my mind and listen to you. Since, come to think of it, I never did anything big sister-like for you. Yes, thank you so much. Alright then, let's hear you apologize for everything. Then maybe I'll let it be all beyond water under the bridge, and maybe, just maybe, I'll let Kei-chan go. Mion said she might let me go, but she never said anything about let Shion go. Before long, Shion got on her hands and knees behind the bars and began to speak weak words of apology. They were too faint for me to hear, but their intention got across. Despite having watched her with a magnificently jubilant expression, Mion kicked the bars and declared she was unsatisfied. You think you can make up for years of grudges and hard feelings like that? That just will not do. I guess I'll make mincemeat out of you both. No! Wait, sis! One more chance, just one more chance. Mion stopped and waved her hand again in resignation, not because she had grown impatient, but only because she was taking delight in abusing Shion. You can't apologize to my satisfaction anyway. I'll teach you how to make an apology that will get through to your older sister. I'm only going to tell you once, and if you get even a letter wrong, you're out. Got it. Yes. Thank you, sis. Oh. Shion's miserable voice cried out, having become utterly hoarse. The sensation tearing through my chest returned a little at a time. I realized it was feelings of anger bubbling up. It's almost like hearing someone... Again, provided that you could stand up in this situation, I would imagine you, the viewer, would be quite upset in this situation. I was slowly regaining control of my body. However, I was only able to feel my skin and my blood flowing at the moment. I still couldn't voluntarily move my fingers. Did you memorize it? Then let's hear you say it. Sincerely and faithfully from the beginning to end with all your heart. If you can do it properly, then I'll only kill you. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Something was strange. Something had become strange at some point. Until just a few moments ago, I was sure this had been Mion, but at some point, she had become someone else. The Mion I knew well would never do something so nasty like enjoying trampling over someone's dignity like this. I mean, they did have those penalty games. This is just a step higher. Now, let's hear it. Your big sister is listening closely. Shion Sonozaki is... When I ran over to Shion's cell earlier, had the real thing been swapped out with a fake right behind me? Anyway, this couldn't possibly be Mion. Shion Sonozaki is a lowly, worthless sow, not fit to even lick her big sister Mion's feet. And when I think of the countless times I've been rude to my big sister without knowing my place... Yes, that's the spirit. I'll permit you to say a little more. Now, okay. Blood circulated through my whole body. My numbed senses were returning. Just a little more. While Shion is still holding Mion's... No, that thing pretending to be Mion's attention. Hurry up. I reflect on how impertinent I have been, and I swear loyalty to my big sister Mion for the rest of my life. So, Mion's burst of laughter echoed throughout the big cave, growing to a terrifying level. That was not the laugh of someone who was alive in this world. It was none other than the laugh of a demon from the bowels of the earth. She laughed from her stomach till she grew tired of it, then stopped smiling suddenly as if snipping a wire. Alright already. That was funny enough for me. I didn't think you'd throw away that much of your pride. That was plenty enjoyable. Mion began to drag me again, after I finally got the feeling back in my body pulled me towards the torture chamber. Sis, only could kill me. Please forgive him. Don't worry, alright? I'll be sure to kill you real good. After letting you get an earful of Kei-chan's screams, that is. No! After dragging me to the torture chamber, she skillfully strapped me into the restraining table. Before I knew it, I was sprawled out and bound. She forced open my hands, with which I couldn't even make a satisfying fist, and tightly restrained each one of my fingers. She fastened only my hands and my fingers at that tightly with hinges and locked them in place. Sis, don't kill him. Sis! The door to the big cave with the jails has been left open, so I could hear Shion's cries of mortification the entire time. Can you hear it, Shion? I'm going to get started now. Please enjoy Kei-chan's young screams. Give it a fucking rest. The feeling in my body returned, and the first action I took was to tell off that thing that looked like Mion. Awake at last, are we? I lied before, you know, about having wanted to give Xian the most miserable death all, but locking her up because I hadn't thought of a good way yet? That was a lie. Mion brought over something like a toolbox. From inside it, she removed a large metal hammer, and next to that she began to line up what looked like long, strangely shaped nails, whose ends had been turned into hooks, like the kind you'd see on a harpoon. I'll let her hear the screams of all the people that died because of her, and after that, they've soaked into her very soul, then I'll kill her. I've got pretty good taste, huh? Cuckoo? Who are you? Huh? I'm Mion. Mion Sonozaki. Has the fear driven you crazy? No, you're not. There's no way you can be Mion Sonozaki. Mion snorted and continued her preparations for the horrifying torture. I see. Then if I'm not Mion, then who am I? A demon. Huh? You're not Mion. Mion was just here. Give her back. Kei-chan, is your brain really doing okay? You're not going crazy with fear. Don't touch me, you damn demon. Give her back. Give Mion back. My best friend, give Mion back. Mion stood there for a few moments with her jaw hanging open, not having expected me to say that. I myself knew that I was about to go insane. Minor spoilers here. Technically, there's different explanations why people go fucking crazy. Sometimes people are just fucking nuts. Sometimes it's driven nuts by paranoia. Sometimes it's stress. Sometimes it's drugs. Sometimes it's stuff being injected to the person. Sometimes it's straight up Hinamizawa syndrome, which is caused by a brain parasite, which causes the person to have, well, lots of very nasty side effects, basically making them a different person. There's also things about aliens and ghosts and supernatural possession, actual fucking demons, and space aliens. Also, an actual deities and gods and Oyashiro-sama and actual supernatural entities. So in some instances, it's people drugging people. In other instances, it's a brain parasite, brain disease. In other issues, it's demons. Sometimes it's aliens. Sometimes it's actually supernatural deity gods fucking with people. And sometimes it's all of the above. And sometimes the person just was nothing supernatural or alien, it's just a horrible person. Just like what there's different versions of the story where each person goes insane for different reasons, there's also different reasons. But like I said, there really are versions of the story where it's brain parasites attacking people. Other versions where there actually is Oyashiro-sama, a supernatural deity or a ghost or a demon or extraterrestrial actual fucking aliens from another planet, another solar system affecting people. And sometimes someone just got injected with a drug repeatedly without them knowing. Or they could just be crazy. Or all of the above. Or any mix of those. And of course, there's a version of the story where each and every person's gone insane. There's one where Satoko kills everyone, one where Shion kills everybody, one where we're just in this Mion arc, one where Retta kills everybody, and then there's a version of the story where like the person killing people is just doing it out of paranoia while having Hinamizawa syndrome and having brain parasites attacking them. But then there's other versions of the story where the person isn't, having Hinamizawa syndrome, but all the stuff they were paranoid about, they're not being paranoid about. But those things that they would have been paranoid about are actually happening now. I'm just saying this. On the one hand, part of me, I have a lot of, higurashi games to go through. Technically, this is game 2 out of 10. But here's the thing. On the one hand, I want a new higurashi game to come out. That way I'd be able to play it. That way I could be the first person to play it. That'd be kind of cool. But, at the same time, part of me doesn't want a new higurashi game to come out. Because, at least at this point, the latest Higurashi game came out before, like, brain rot, skibbity toilet stuff happened. Because I'd be worried that there'd be some sort of, like, brain rot, Jet Alpha talk, or, like, skibbity toilet, like, somehow involved. Like something stupid. I knew it was nonsense to demand Mion's return when she was right in front of me. Whereas this does make sense. One, if she's insane, maybe we could snap her back into her senses. But also, if it's like a demon possessing her, or a ghost, or an aliens, or God, then a god anyway, we could maybe, Mion through force of will, could like fight back and reclaim control of her body. Or if it's, you know, an effect of Hinamizawa syndrome and actual brain parasites, maybe she can fight through the insanity and the hallucinations to not do these terrible, terrible things. We just have to trust in the power of friendship. But this person in front of me couldn't possibly have been Mion. There was no way I could accept that. So this is what I thought. Mion had really been possessed by a demon and was controlling Mion as if it was a separate personality. Mion was just a victim being manipulated by it. The evil one was really this thing. It all had to be the doing of this demon possessing her. Ah ha ha ha. When Mion heard that, she started to guffaw, laughing so hysterically that she started to cough and almost choked. You really are a piece of work, you know that? In this very moment, Mion Sonozaki is trying to kill you, and you're trying to reject me. I never knew there was such a funny person in all the world. If you want to laugh, then do it all you want. No matter what you say, though, I won't accept that you're Mion. Give her back. Away with you, demon. Laughter noises. Kei-chan, are you trying to kill me by drowning me in my own tears? No matter what, I wouldn't lose to that laughter of hers. I shouted loudly. By the way, police officers who had the building fucking surrounded. You couldn't, like, secretly follow me from a distance? You just let the fucking serial killer walk out with a hostage into the fucking woods? It's not like we went in and immediately left. We gave you plenty of time to get the house properly surrounded. You should have watched us. There should be people... Like, obviously, yes, you wanted me to... Like, there was something she was leading me to, and you wanted to see it. But the moment you heard Shion screaming, help, 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 please don't kill him, you know, that's when you, like, pop out of the tunnels, drop your stealth Metal Gear Solid Snake shit, and, you know, pull out your gun. I shouted from the bottom of my heart so that the real Mion trapped inside the Mion I saw in front of me would be able to hear. You can do it, Mion. Don't lose to this piece of shit demon. You're strong. Show me how strong you are. The tears welled up and flooded down her face. Her hands were busy with the restraints, so she couldn't even wipe them. She just let them flow. Please, Mion, Mion, where? Where did you lose to a demon like this? You're not that weak, are you? Don't lose. Fight. Fight. Mion, desperately enduring her laughter, pressed one of the long nails to the tip of my left pinky. In her left hand was the hammer. At her side were dozens more nails. I could tell what she was about to do, though I wish I couldn't. Even so, I couldn't afford to be scared. That was why I shouted. My sides hurt like they're about to split. Is that all? I'm going to get started now. Be sure to give her some good screams. Not only am I torturing you, Kei-chan, but I'm torturing Shion as well. Why? Why? Would you? Mion! Then I wept. Only sobs came out. They weren't an acceptance of the torture about to be performed, however. They were tears of regret. That Mion had lost to the demon. Yet a small change did occur in Mion in front of me. Her heightened excitement was draining, little by little. By the time I had realized it, the one in front of me had returned to being Mion. Kei-chan? This may not be something pleasant to take to the grave with you. You really seem to want to know, though, so I'll tell you just one thing. I didn't know if this was Mion, or just a display of momentary humanity the demon had recovered. A long time before the demon came to live inside me, it was gnawing at my heart trying to spur me to violence, but I suppressed it with my reason. That settled the demon down, and I got to thinking it had gone away somewhere. As it turned out, I was wrong. It hadn't left me, it had just gone to sleep. I noticed there were tears forming in her eyes. The demon woke up again due to a certain small opportunity. What do you think that opportunity was? There was a sad and yet reproachful light in Mion's eyes. Do you understand? I don't know what gave the demon the chance to beat Mion. This might be strange for me, a demon, to say, but you're the reason that everything got so messed up. The tears welling up in her eyes spilled downward all of a sudden. At the time, if you had given me that doll you got without hesitating, maybe everything wouldn't have gotten so twisted. The doll I got. That doll that I got when we were at our club meeting at the toy store that Sunday. You probably can't understand. I wouldn't expect you to. But you see, all sorts of things started falling over like dominoes after that, and soon it was too much for me to control. It only makes sense that you wouldn't be aware of knocking over the first one, since it was so small, but you're the one who set it up. That can't. Me? If you hadn't made Mion cry, then I wouldn't have had to wake up. Is that enough? For you to die in peace? A mistake that I'd made on that day was what messed everything up. That can't be, can it? It only makes sense that you wouldn't be aware of it. Even so, Kei-chan, you are without the doubt the cause. If you had nonchalantly given me the doll that day, then I don't think this would have happened. That's not justification for anything that has occurred. Yes, you have a right to be sad about that. Yes, you do. And technically, when I bought that doll for Shion, I still thought you were her. And I was like, yes, I'll buy you the doll to make up for it, because I thought you were pretending to be a more feminine version of yourself so that I would think of you in that way, because possibly, one, had romantic interests, and two, well, because you wanted to actually, be seen as more than just, one of the dude bros. And then it's like, oh, there's two people here. Oh, you're actually twins. I thought you were pretending to be someone else, and I wanted to say, like I just remembered something. As I recalled that day, Ren had told me about it, and I thought I had apologized. I didn't apologize to Mion, though. It had been Shion. In other words, oh God, I hadn't said a single word of apology to Mion. Today I came to this house saying I had to apologize for it, but I never said a word of apology. Come to think of it, when I apologized for going to the ritual storehouse, Mion looked a little bit lonely, like she was disappointed. Why didn't I realize that until just now? Ren had told me at the time, and now she herself knew the demon was telling me. Is the only way for a dense idiot like me to be cured to die altogether? I could no longer hold back the tears pouring for me. I simply just cried and reflected indifferently on the taste of my tears, on the taste. Again, one, we thought we had already apologized to Mion. Two, after it became clear that it wasn't Mion, it was kind of awkward, and we no longer had the chance to say that. And then three, when we were at the building, we're kind of past the, I'm sorry I didn't give you the doll that you pretended that you didn't want, when you had literally serial killer murdered half a dozen people, several of which were both of our closest friends, and not just like casually killed them either. Like, it was really, really bad murders, like very sadistically evil. To where most of the people on death row in prisons would be, mortified. Can I start now then? This method of torture is very simple. I'll nail one of these into the joint on the end of your left pinky finger. Then I'll nail each one in order until I get to your thumb. Then I'll go back to your pinky and nail the one in the joint in the middle. So on and so until I hammer 15 nails into your left hand. When that's over, I'll do your right hand. After that, you're still conscious. I'll tell you. There are a lot of nerves bundled in your fingertips, so it hurts far more than you can imagine. Some people apparently pass out before you finish hammering 30 nails into their hands. So, Mion pressed the tip of the nail into the left pinky finger. My wrists, my arms, and all the joints of my fingers were strapped in so tightly, and I couldn't even twitch. I didn't hesitate at all when I was torturing the others. Why do I hesitate now? If this will satisfy your demon, Mion, if it will sate the demon, then do to me what you will. Are you serious? Compared to how much I hurt Mion, this is nothing, right? Do as much as you want. In exchange, I promise me 2 things. Mion was silent. She did, however, wait for me to speak. After you're satisfied causing pain, forgive Xian. She's been punished enough to make up for her crimes sneaking into the storehouse, hasn't she? After all this, you can still worry about Xian more than yourself. The other thing is that when you've had your fill, you disappear. Give that body back to Mion. That's all. You know, are you not even considering possibly begging for your life or anything? Can I ask you to promise 3 things instead of 2? The third is to leave me alive. Ha ha ha. You said 2 in the beginning, didn't you? So you can't have any more. That's a shame. In such an abnormal situation, Mion and I laughed quietly together, as if sharing in a stupid joke. I probably won't keep these promises, understand? I'm a demon after all. I guess there's nothing I can do then. I recalled tightening my hands into fists when enduring the pain at the dentist's office. Right now, though, they were forced open all the way to my fingertips, so I couldn't even grip them. So instead, I tightened my toes. Okay, do it. Prepared myself already, so do it. You waiting like this to hammer the nails isn't scarier. It's going to diminish my readiness after all. Mion put down the hammer and gently stroked my cheek. Kei-chan, I'll agree to just the 3rd thing. Okay? Huh? My 3rd wish, to save me. She'll agree to it. Your 1st wish, to save Xian, that's long done for. The demon will kill her. It's already been decided, so I can't stop it. So give up on that. Her delicate fingers slid from my cheek to my chin. As for your 2nd wish, to give this body back to Mion, that won't happen either. After today, Mion will never come back. From today on, even if my body is here, it will just be a body, because the Oni has taken over. That isn't true. Mion is Mion. Don't say such things like she won't ever come back. Can you hear it? I think I remember a scene in the anime where she was like, Kei-chan, if you ever do see me again, do not approach me. By then, the only thing left will be the demon. That sound. Mion gently closed her eyes and listened. I definitely heard it as well. Slam. Slam. It was a dull noise that repeated at fixed intervals. A low noise accompanied by vibrations. A lot of people were ramming the iron doors of this underground ritual storehouse. You're late. Serena probably called Oshi. That spaced out girl, being so quick thinking, was the one thing I didn't anticipate. I'll agree with you there. Mion grinned like she had been outwitted, then took something out that looked like an electric razor out of her pocket. When she pressed the switch, pale blue sparks flew out with a snapping noise? You've probably never seen one before, right? It's a real stun gun. Oh, okay. It's illegal, and its output has been increased quite a bit. Was that what you hit me with before? That's not a toy children should be playing with, you know. You're right. She seems to want to use the stun gun on me. Unable to move, I felt her press the cool lump of metal to my neck. Slam. Wouldn't that kill me? Like, honestly, even a normal voltage stun gun that's actually meant to used on people has a chance of giving people heart attacks. And even then, it's still going to be extremely painful. But I mean, it still has a chance of killing you, let alone increased voltage. I heard a roar as though they'd broken down the first large door. The halls were a bit complex. But aside from the door to this very torture chamber, there was nothing in her way. I won't kill you, but I will have you go to sleep for a bit, Kei-chan. Oshi will be here soon. This will only hurt a bit. I beg to differ, but technically less than the other options. Feeling the same shock as before, grating my teeth wasn't going to help much, but I clenched them tightly anyway. However, just as she did was with the hammered nails, she hesitated a little. Honestly, at this point, for clenching our teeth in anticipation, wouldn't the jolt actually cause us to break our teeth? I cracked open my tightly closed eyelids. I'm sorry for disgracing Mion. I made a promise before coming in here. Whatever happens, the Mion inside my heart won't change. Look. Forget about that. If you ever see... This is the thing I was talking about. Look. Forget about that. If you ever see me after today, don't come near me. By then, it will be the demon that inherited my corpse. What are you talking about? Just as I tried to say that much, a much stronger light than before shined like a television switch between my consciousness went black. Look, forget about that. If you ever see me after today, don't come near me. By then, it will be the demon that inherited my corpse. Some people say, oh, people in TV and stories and even Greek legends are stupid. And what I have to say to that is this. Oh, this is just auto-doing. A string of disappearances occurred in Hinamizawa. The suspect is Mion Sonozaki, years old. She is suspected to have kidnapped 5 Hinamizawa residents between June 19th. Even the grandma. Rika Furue, hustled and imprisoned them and killed them. Preliminary investigation of the incident were delayed at the time due to incident of evidence, but it was resolved coincidentally and shockingly. Village heard screams from inside and rushed in emergency measure. They secured the suspect's missing younger sister, Shion's and her 2 missing classmates, Keiichi Mabara and Rena Ryuga. The suspect fled the scene. Deep in the detached basement of the Sonozaki property, which is believed to have been used to kill those who disappeared, we discovered hair, flake, skin of the 4 persons, including... We concluded that the missing persons were tortured in the torture. So you even tortured your grandma? However, their remains have still... At one imprisoned classmate's advice, we continue searching the detached basement. Sonozaki property were in prison, believe they were there, however, it is still not located or such as Reb. Did we ever go back for those manga that she offered? In addition, investigations are continuing as to her participation in the serial freak death incidents in recent years, thinking it would give some clue, but no evidence that Mion Sonozaki was involved, either directly or indirectly, has been found. There are still many unclear points as to the motive behind the incidents. Those Sonozaki family residents in Himadazawa have been extremely uncooperative in assisting us, and we expect to require a long time to clarify them. The opinion of a local officer knowledgeable about the region is that they may have been lynching, an eternal form of punishment, sacrilegious acts carried out against the beliefs of Hinamizawa village. It is clear that the incidents are particularly rooted in this region, and the prefectural police department has ordered a cautious investigation. We anticipated gaining valuable clues from the missing person believed to be in prison alongside Shion, the suspect's younger sister, but her mind was stricken by the grave after effects of the incident, and she may have not been in a state of mind to properly acknowledge and answer any questions that knows. Psychiatrists concluded that she is in a temporary state of shock, but it still doesn't seem hopeful. It doesn't seem hopeful that she will recover today either. Only a few days passed since that time. As I was saying, a lot of people will say, and again, I'll give a spoiler. Keiichi's going to see Mion. He will go out to talk to her, and she will stab him, and he will die. Whether it be movies, heck, whether it be movies, video games, anime, a lot of times characters will make stupid decisions. And the point of a character being stupid in fiction is that way it's actually a lesson for people in the real world to learn from. After all the Greek tragedies are about Greek heroes facing some sort of really big flaw or making some tragic mistake. Even take Star Wars, whether it be the original trilogy or the prequels. You look at the fall of Anakin Skywalker. You're supposed to look at that, and you're supposed to see that, okay, he's the hero, but he winds up fucking up. And he makes very stupid and very emotional decisions. One, it makes a more interesting story, but also you as the viewer can look at what he does and you can then think on, oh, what if he had done this differently? What if he hadn't been so stupid? What if he hadn't been so emotional or so reckless or impulsive? What if he had done this instead? It's meant, I think the best way to put it is a smart person can learn from their own mistakes, a wise person can learn from the mistakes of others. So, yeah, and heck, especially video games and anime, you're able to have such amazing, beautiful backgrounds of environments that you would never be able to see in real life. Great music and so many stories that, and even if there's nothing to learn from it, the story is good to still enjoy. But take even the Final Fantasy games, even the older retro ones, the backgrounds and the buildings and the environments you see are beautiful. Imagine though if you had like a VR chat version of many of the like Final Fantasy VI. Like say if you took the backgrounds from like Final Fantasy IV or Final Fantasy V or Final Fantasy VI and you made them like Elden Ring level graphics and then made it into like a VR chat where you could like walk around in it. But yeah, that's the main point of like why characters are stupid and make dumb decisions in a story, is because that way you can learn from it. It's kind of like a PSA, except more entertaining. You guys remember Star Ocean Till End of Time for the PS2? That was a really good game. Only a few days passed since then. After that, I was rescued by Oshi-san and his subordinates whom Rena had called in. Aside from my entirely blank state of mind, I had no external injuries. The most I had was a small burn mark from where the stun gun hit me. As I was having a checkup at the hospital, Oshi-san asked me all sorts of things, but I don't really remember what he asked or how I answered him. From what I heard, surprisingly, Mion still hadn't been captured. There was apparently a great many hallways and smaller rooms extending out to the depths of the prison. It wouldn't be strange if she had fled into one of those and hidden herself. The one fortunate aspect amidst all the misfortune was that Shion had been safely secured by the police. When I last saw Mion, she seemed like she was going to take me with her and then kill me. She probably didn't have enough time to, though Oshi-san came running in faster than she predicted. That was the only really fortunate thing to have happened. Of course, the rescued Shion, despite having no external wounds, now had a big, deep wound in her heart. She was in a severe state of confusion when they rescued her, and apparently she had bit the police officers trying to resist. From what he heard, she was seeing Mion in everyone she saw. Hated not only the hospital, but even her own home, and had shut herself up somewhere within Shishibone, hiding her location. Additionally, in fear that Mion would come for her, she was moving from place to place every day, and even when her parents weren't sure where she actually was. Wherever she was living, even now, Shion spending her days in fear of Mion's shadow. Probably would have been best if Shion brought me with her. The police were investigating the Sonozaki's underground storehouse at this moment. Since they couldn't find the remains of the other sacrifices, hadn't Mion thrown the corpses into a well? I had a feeling I had said that to him. That meant a hidden tunnel vertical like a well was somewhere in those underground passages. The secret underground without any maps or architectural drawings, which had swallowed up the remains of Rika-chan, Satoko, and everyone else was still unwilling to speak the truth. I was brought back to the basement again, too, for on-the-site inspection or something. But I didn't remember being of any help. I never wanted to go back there again. For days afterward, Sonozaki living in Okinomiya, in other words, Mion and Shion's parents, the big-name Yakuza, would come to our house to apologize, bringing many of their followers with them. However much my parents refused it, they piled up many 100,000 yen bills, calling it consolation money every day. The amount of money grew each day, and after it had passed 2 million yen, they were given an envelope containing a letter. I don't know what was written in the letter. My parents talked about it by themselves for 2 whole nights, and decided to move away. I see. You're moving, huh? When? At the end of next month. I won't even have been in his out for half a year. I'll be lonely. I'm the only one left. Rena smiled sadly. If I had just said yeah, I thought it would make her even more lonely, so I changed the subject. Here's something to think about. That's how I broached it. Mian hadn't actually fled, but had been demoned away in the truest sense of the term. Where she went after she disappeared, that we didn't know. What was there where she had disappeared to? I hoped there was a hobby shop dealing in imports, the kind Mian liked. In that place, she would definitely be free from the burdensome fetters of her family. And live not as Mian Sonozaki, but just as Mian and enjoy herself. Maybe she's already met up with Satoko and Rika-chan. They must also have been waiting for the day Rena and I would join them, spending all their time doing club activities, as lively as they always were. When I told Rena that, she smiled and nodded to me. The incidents of the Sonozaki family had been trying so hard to hide, too, were exposed to the magazines from the single tiny seam. I have a question. If you're Keiichi Mabra and you lived a long life, never seeing Mian again, and you lived your 80s, and then you get to heaven, and you saw Rena, and you saw Rika, and Satoko, and Shion, but then you also saw Mian, how would that conversation go? Oh my god. I know that we have something more serious occurring, but do you guys remember these TVs? I used to have a TV like this. I think the last time I owned a television that looked like this was actually like, proportionally this size and was a little box TV like this was maybe 2010. And then I got a very small flat screen that was about the same size as this. And then, well, right now I still while I enjoy the laptop I have, I will say the laptop I have right now is the most powerful computer I've ever owned. It's got an Intel 7. But I will say this. My television I bought... Technically, I've owned 3 TVs in my life. The very first one was a box television like this. That was basically proportionally, you look at the stand, it's basically about that size. And about this thickness too. I think that TV was already 16 years old before it was given to me as a hand-me-down sort of thing. And I kept using it, I think, for about a decade. Yeah, I think I had it since I was what? 12 or 13. I think I was 13. I had my own TV, and it was a television that was about this size, and it was a box TV like this, and it was already 16 years old. It was a hand-me-down. But eventually the TV burned out about a decade later. Well, about less than a decade. I think I was about 20, so I used it for it was 16 years old when I got it, and I made it work for another 7 years, and eventually it burned out. And then I got a flat screen TV that was about the same size, which I still technically have that flat screen TV. It's downstairs in the living room. Now, my television that's upstairs, that's sitting on 2 green totes next to my bed with a PS5 hooked to it. If I were to measure it in length, you know the length from my elbow to my wrist? It's 2 of those long. Let me try to guess how big it is. I'd say it's probably about, if I measure lengthwise, it's probably about 24 inches long. I don't remember. I've had this TV since, I think, because right now it's like April something. What day is it? It is April 10th. Okay, it's April 10th of 2025. And I've had this TV since the TV in my bedroom. I've had it since I think 2016. So, I've had this television for 9 years. The serial incidents of the recent years were all pulled up like a long vine in the ground, one by one, and for many days, news of it was brought up on talk and variety shows. The shows, which were comedic and silly, never once tried to touch upon the grim, heavy history that Mion had been bearing. It made me mad to see them bringing this stuff up in jest, but there was nothing I could do about it now. Tell Oishi-san about it? We could tell I'm pretty sure that fucking detective would eat this stuff up. How big an impression would these short few weeks I spent in Hinamizawa have on my life? During these few weeks, I met my best friends and had the best experiences of my life. I would probably never forget it for as long as I lived. As for the distorted image of Mion that the media created, after the masses got tired of treating her like a plaything, they would ball her up and throw her in the trash, and then she would fade from their memories. As somebody, as one of the few people who knew the real Mion, I must always make sure I remember her. Beyond any doubt, that will surely become an offering to her. The sky reached so far up, towering cumulonimbus clouds floated through it. The real summer was just before our eyes. Even now, whenever 10 p.m. came around, I would expect a phone call from Shion, or Mion, rather. Now that everything was over, of course she would never call me. But it was precisely because she wouldn't call me that I was scared of who would call me this time. Plus, Mion still hadn't been caught. I couldn't say for sure that everything was completely over. On the other side of that fear, though, were my prayers that Mion was safe. When I thought like that, I was able to sleep, even with such terrifying thoughts. The lights were off. Before her attacking when the lights were off was something that scared me. However, that feeling changed to regret within 2 days. The moonlight, filtering through the gap in the curtains, shone onto the desk and illuminated the doll. That's right, the doll that I should have given to Mion that day. She said it was an import from England or something, and was all the rage, didn't she? From what Shion said, the most popular among them were the ones wearing the fluffy dress. After being released from the incident, the first place I went to was that toy store. After everything was apparently sold out besides the things the storefront displays. I was refused once they said they wouldn't sell the display products when they realized I was Survivor A. When I was Survivor A from that instant, they immediately consented. Of course, even if I bought it, I might never have the chance to give it to her again. Even knowing that, I waited for the opportunity to give it to her. You know, this would be a situation in which we could use a portion of all that fucking money that the Yakuza who gave birth to Mion and Shion. You know, I could get a therapist and talk about this stuff to the therapist, and they could explain that there is no reason for me to feel this way and not to blame myself. But then again, there's a lot of people that may go through abusive situations and struggle to really I waited like this for the opportunity with it on the desk so I could give it to her at any time. Plonk. There was a weird noise. It was a noise I wasn't used to hearing. It was too big to be raindrops, and it was completely different from the sound lost bug makes when they ram into fluorescent lights. I figured I must have misheard and nestled back into my futon. Plonk. But again, therapy would be very useful for people who have gone through bad things, scary things, life-threatening things, or mistreatment, particularly any kind of abuse, whether it be verbal or physical. Especially if it's stuff that took place over a long period of time, and especially if it's stuff that didn't happen in just isolated incidents. For example, if you're a person who, one, would not only need to talk to a therapist about one issue of one person being abusive to you, but also you had previous things that were unrelated to that happened throughout many different points in your life that may have a cumulative effect. That each thing on its own kind of needs to get addressed. And each of them on their own kind of, feed into the others. So again, while they're getting a therapist isn't the end-all be-all to everything, and a lot of times it's time, proper support systems, people that actually care about you, self-reflection, having hobbies and things that you actually enjoy, getting proper rest, taking care of yourself, all very important things. But definitely, one, it's important for you just introspection of yourself, to just talk to yourself about the stuff, so that you can, but also, it would be a benefit to you, like especially anyone who's been through any sort of abuse type of things, to talk to a therapist because, perhaps your view of things obviously not the healthiest. For example, it is possible that you're someone who went through abuse and then at first you're not able to recognize that how you were treated was abusive, even though there was every indication that it was. It's just, whether it be your own low self-esteem or blaming yourself for things, or just the fact that you had just pretty much your whole life gotten used to getting treated a certain way, so that even when you did wind up having someone that you trusted, that you thought would cared about you, then suddenly became something different, that you would just sort of blame yourself and then just sort of compartmentalize to a degree. I mean, it's a nifty survival trait, but you do have to unpack it from time to time, otherwise it's not healthy. Just saying, one, it is good for you to talk to yourself about things, to try to understand things, but it's also good for you to talk to others, whether it be people that care about you, so that you at least know that you're not alone and there are people that care about you and that understand you. But also, again, the purpose of a therapist would be that the idea is that there's someone who is emotionally healthy and who is detached from the situation enough that they are able to sort of point out certain negative shortcomings of how you might have adapted in your outlook on things as a way of self-defense. Simply put, they can point out that you're not fully acknowledging how bad certain things were and just sort of glossing over them as if they were very, very minor things that were inconsequential, when they were very, very big, major things, but that you're just sort of glossing over as small things that, oh, yeah, this happened to me and that happened to me, and you're just glossing over it as if you're just reciting some sort of story that you just sort of like dissociated yourself from because, well, that stuff's emotionally painful. So the idea then the therapist can, one, listen and be like, oh, what you described as happening to you was actually very terrible and horrible. It's like, and again, the main point of acknowledging that and coming to terms with just how bad certain things were is so that you can, by acknowledge it, you can actually properly emotionally deal with it, and one, move on from it, two, grow, and three, because obviously it's, I guess the best way to describe it would be if you were to get shot and you had a bullet in you. You can't just leave the bullet in there. I don't want to talk about that anymore. The noise happened again. I wasn't hearing things. I definitely heard it. Where was it coming from? I got up and turned on the light. If there was a second, there would be a third. From where, though? I listened carefully. Plunk. The window. Some sort of pebbles were colliding with my window. When I realized they weren't being blown there by the wind, rather than being thrown by a person, I gave a start. I looked at the clock. It was 2 a.m. Who would it be at a time like this? I quietly peek out front, through the gap in the curtains. In the light at the gate, despite it being so late, I saw someone. They picked up a piece of gravel and threw it at this window. It hit the window and made a plonking noise. Who was it? Ah. I caught my breath in surprise. If my eyes weren't deceiving me, that person was Mion. I threw open the window and looked at the figure again. But my eyes certainly weren't deceiving me. It was Mion. She specifically told us that if we were to ever see her again, we should run away. That it wouldn't be her. It was Mion. She was alive. Mion pressed her index finger to her lips and made a shh motion, so I wouldn't shout. If she hadn't, well, I was nearly about to cry out. Mion was in a very delicate position right now. Even if it was the middle of the night, I shouldn't call out her name. I waved to her, gesturing that I'd be right over, flung out my coat and my pajamas, and flew out the door. Did we even bring the fucking stuffed animal with us? I quickly hit the brakes just before going down the stairs. Although happiness was spreading within me, I had the sad feeling that this would be our final parting. So I went back to my room again and grabbed the doll. Yay! There was a God. I don't think I would have ever thanked him as much as today, even if it would be the last time we ever saw each other. I was so grateful for this one chance to give it to her. I slipped into my sandals, unlocked the door, unhooked the chain, and leaped out of the house. And again, like, before the murder shit occurred, it was normal for Kei-chan to feel bad about the doll thing. Even after the thing with Shion and giving her the doll. But then that should have been, we tried to talk to Mion. But the reason why we didn't bring it up when we went to the Sanozaki household was because we were there because she had literally murdered people. And that was just hearsay. At this point, we've literally seen the fruits of those endeavors. And we know several people are dead and that they were murdered terribly. We almost got... So at this point, yeah. Kei-chan, stop torturing yourself. Huh. Mion. Hey, it's been a while. How are you? Been doing all right? It was like how we used to meet every morning. Mion waved to me and responded like she always did. It was doubtlessly Mion. By the way, the parents in this situation, and even Rena, especially since this person was out at large still, I would imagine that they all should have very vehemently spoken to Keiichi saying, hey, if there's any chance that you were to ever see Mion again, do not approach her in any circumstance. And if there's any reason why you feel you would need to, talk to us about it so that we could resolve these emotional issues that you have. After all, one, you would have a reason to have these emotional issues because, these feelings do matter. But also because you've been through a very traumatic thing that, maybe more than you can emotionally handle. Plus, maybe in time, probably could have dealt with this, but, you have the fucking serial killer at large. Maybe we need to be concerned. It was the real Mion. Are you? Alright, hanging around this place. I really shouldn't be. Hee. She certainly wasn't acting like she knew the police were following her. It was almost like she was a patient who had gotten tired of staying in the hospital and snuck out. Her speech was relaxed enough to make me think that, and I couldn't help but be surprised. That relaxation, I thought, was more like Mion, and I was happy for it. Anyway, what's wrong? What do you need at this hour? I wanted to talk to you one last time. That was when I noticed them. On Mion's forehead were big droplets of sweat. Her expression, too, which I had thought to be a satisfied smile, was, upon closer inspection, trembling slightly, and I realized that she was forcing it. Well, I can't stay for any longer. A pained note was beginning to enter her words as well, as if just smiling was a feat for her. Are you all right? Are you not feeling well? I tried so hard until now. But I can tell. I'm done. This is my limit. They're about to come up behind me to take me away. Mion's smile crumbled and started to stiffen. Did she push herself this much to come all this way for me? Laugh at her noises. Her laughter cut off and changed into rough breathing. I reached out to rub her back, but then she knocked me away. Are you okay? Don't force yourself. Oh, that's right. I had something to give you, Mion. This doll. I had wanted to do this one last thing, because I knew how little time you had left. But this last thing, Well, that's not good. Ah, my organs. It'd be nice if there wasn't a large metal thing in those organs. I need them to not have a large metal thing in them for my continued living. As well as all this red stuff should still be in my body. Within the veins, mind you, not like internal bleeding. My stomach is burning. Mion took a meat cleaver-like knife and stabbed me. And pushed it in tight and took it and twisted it. Mion? Hey, what? It hurts. I made it. I made it. I cowered on the ground. My stomach was so hot it was almost spewing fire. Mion watched it and then took a few steps away and cackled. I've done it. I've done it all. That's everyone I wanted to kill. So you got the Shion too. The last words left Mion that day came back to me. After today, Mion will never come back. And that's the thing. thankfully I've, not been kaichi'd. But I have met people that actually both situations. Situation A, people that were a certain way and then changed into completely different people. And people that, in situation B, pretended to be a certain type of person and then eventually revealed that they were a different type of person. In both situations, it's very clear that the person is this other type of person and not what they either were initially or what they pretended to be. And that they either were somebody that you could trust or pretended to be somebody you could trust. But now we're like, well, we're always someone who is psychotic or became psychotic, or a mix of both, actually. To where they were always psychotic and pretending a bit, but then became way, way worse. Main point is this. I've had my share of many people. Some very close and very extreme. Who, well, there's only thing left of them is a demon. Anything that was human or compassionate or any amount of goodness that was within them, it was either all a lie to begin with, or it just simply doesn't exist anymore. To where anything that I thought that was good in that person, and in many cases people that I cared about very much or trusted very much in the past, who were very much not even remotely what I thought they were. To where I would know that the only thing left is the demon. That anything I might have cared about is dead. That anything that I thought cared about me is dead. But, like I said, we all know people like that. We've all experienced that, and if you haven't, then you must be very young. You must still be like 19 or 20. I would like to say that you'll never experience that, but maybe you'll be lucky. But, yeah. I've had my share of people like this, to where any semblance of any goodness just does not exist. After today, Mion will never come back. From today on, even if my body is here, a body is all it will be. By then, the demon will have taken it over. Good music, by the way. The demon. The demon. The demon. Me. On? This can't. I thought we had finally been able to meet. This can't. Mion. In a pool of my blood of my own design is the doll I bought for Mion, dyed in red, so red. Mion. The good fortune of having been allowed to meet Mion once more, and the misfortune of that meeting being torn apart before my eyes. Should I be grateful or curse it? My emotions were neither of those, as my consciousness sunk deep into a black swamp. This is good music, by the way. The doll I bought for Mion, the blood had ruined it. No matter how I scrubbed and scrubbed, it had needlessly been ruined. The sad moon was so white, it looked frozen. June 28th, 1983. A violent incident. The victim was Keiichi Mabura, also victim of the previous string of disappearances. At around 2 a.m., he was stabbed in the stomach with a bladed object by the suspect. Last case, Mion Sozaka was gravely wounded. He was discovered when his parents woke up and then was then transported to the clinic. He escaped death. The criminal fled the scene. Well, that's surprising. Yay, we're alive. On the same day, approximately the same time, a fall accident occurred in an apartment complex in Shishibone City. The victim was Shion Sonozaki, also a victim of the previous string of incidents. Late on the same night, neighbors overheard her having a big fight with someone and informed the manager. The manager used a master key to enter the room, discovered the ballon from her. The room had been torn apart and appeared to show traces of a fight. One neighbor had frequently visited Sonozaki's house for a long time. Testified she heard it sound like two sisters having a fight, trading insults back and forth. We believe this was related to the injury case that occurred the same day and was at temperature the said instance suspect. I did search, but we could not find any traces that would imply anyone but the victim was present. But you at least knew there was a struggle. The victim fell straight down into the foliage of a parking strip. Her neck broke and she died immediately. Her clothing was disheveled and had markings that would imply a scuffle. We also believe, however, that it could have been an insanity-induced suicide attempt based on the particular mental state of the victim after the incident. We are conducting a thorough examination on both fronts, suicide and homicide. I have a question. Keiichi, are we going to call Rena from time to time? Also, did Mion's parents show back up again to apologize for the stabbing? Only for 5 minutes, understand? Please try not to excite him. Yes, I'll be careful. Click-clack. The door opened, and as I expected, Oshi-san came in. Hello, Mabura-san. How are you doing? I'm doing okay. I've learned to breathe through my stomach. It's been a while, hasn't it? Tell me, how have you been since then? I got stabbed. The doctor says my post-operative recovery seems to be going smoothly, but I think I got worse when I saw your face. You wound me. Oshi-san gave me a laugh that swelled of sweat, and he handed Mom a bag of assorted candies he must have purchased from the souvenir corner on the first floor of the hospital. Excuse me, Miss Mabura? Would it be possible for me to talk to Keiichi-kun for just a few moments? Mom clearly wasn't pleased at the thought of a police officer taking to her son without her there. However, I insisted. Mom, sorry, just a little while. Just 5 minutes, okay? Though grudgingly, Mom left the door. That and also just doesn't want to leave you alone at this point. I mean, you keep getting stabbed. When she closed the door, Oshi-san grinned widely and looked around the room. A room to yourself, how high class. My old lady always gets a shared room, you know. It is quite lively, though. Seems like you're a higher rank if you have a worse disease in places like that. The sicker you are, the prouder you are. Or maybe the more arrogant. Oshi-san, we only have 5 minutes. And we'd like it if these were the last 5 minutes we ever saw each other. I don't have any connection to Hinamizawa anymore, and this isn't in Hinamizawa anymore either. Yes, because there aren't any general hospitals in Okinomiya. Mind if I take a seat? Down we go. There's a large university hospital in Shishibone City. I was splendidly urban, entirely different from the likes of Hinamizawa and Okinomiya. It was hard to believe Hinamizawa was part of the same city. When does it look like you'll get transferred? Don't know. I'm ready to go whenever, though. Our moving plans were delayed a little because of my serious injury. My parents had already left the house in Hinamizawa, though, and were living in our new one. They planned to have me transfer to hospitals to be close to the new house once I'd recovered enough to be taken there. Please don't come to where I'm transferring. I really will get worse then. Man, you really do hate me. It may just be my job, but that stings. That's why I brought all kinds of lovely souvenirs in atonement. You didn't need to bring an assortment of cookies for that. Well, you see, these aren't actually cookies in there. Look. Oshi-san pulls out a can of cookies. And, what? Ow, I'm stretching my scar. I didn't know that you were into... Well, so I brought all sorts of things. See all sorts of cute-looking ones, westerns to comic strips. Lately they have sorts of H manga aimed at girls, too. Don't bring porn in here. Take them away and go home. Ow. I thought for sure a healthy young person like you would be feeling a little needy, being cooped up in a place like this for so long. If you stay here too long, the only fetish you'll end up with is a nurse one, you know. There are plenty of other beautiful things in this world besides the nurses, after all. Don't decide what to major in now. Keep your options open. You need to be a more all-around type of person. I gave Oshi-san vulgar laughter, a pained grin. Somehow or other, I understood The fact that Ochisawa was bringing it up like this meant that he must have had something important to talk about. The incident with Shion-san really was unfortunate. The night I was stabbed by Mion, Shion fell from a balcony and died. They said the police were investigating all possibilities of accident, suicide, homicide, but it could only have been Mion's doing. Mion found out where Shion was hiding and pushed her down to her death. Nothing else was conceivable. It couldn't have been an accident. It was Mion. It had to be. The criminology guys are saying it had to be a suicide, but I'm the same as Penny Yamabara-san. She pushed Shion-san and also stabbed you in one night. Has Mion still not been found? Oh, that's right. That's what I came here to tell you today. Yes, we actually did find her. What? Learning that felt rather strange to me. I was partly relieved that the incident was truly over, and I was partly sorry that my best friend had finally been caught. I felt many other things, too. My heart was a maze of emotions. That's not all. In the Sonozaki House catacombs, we found a hidden well. Just as you said, Mabara-san, we found the remains of those who disappeared at the bottom. I see. That sliver of hope that possibly I believed in, that Rika-chan and Satoko were alive, just from the fact their remains hadn't been found, gone. It was incredibly well hidden in those catacombs. I mean, it was in the blind spot of another blind spot. It was a vertical tunnel done out like a well. There was a ladder set up there, and we went all the way down. There was another tunnel built there going through it. When we followed it a few hundred meters, we found ourselves at the mouth of an old, unused well in the mountains. I wonder if it is a secret escape route a previous Sonozaki family leader built. Probably was. Maybe it was made in the Meiji era. Still, I'm impressed they built something like that. So everyone's remains were at the bottom? Yes. Even deeper down the escape path, there was a cool pool of coal tar. They had been casually thrown into there. They had fallen from a fairly high spot, so the remains were totally buried in it. It took a lot of time and effort to pull the bodies up. Did you find them all? I hoped that at least they wouldn't find Rika-chan and Satoko. That's what I wished for when I asked, but my shallow hope was crushed in the blink of an eye. Yes, all of them. In fact, we also found human bones we think are over a decade old. We think there are at least 3 people. I suppose it's the dark side of Hinmizawa's history. I wonder how many people's bones we'll find when we sucked out all the mud. It's a scary thought. That weight had been pushing down on Mion's shoulders the whole time. Mion. We've currently identified people who disappeared from Shishibones decades ago. People are talking about how this opportunity might lead us to resolve disappearing person cases that might have been abandoned. After a deep silence, he breathed a heavy sigh. Oshan went for the cigarettes to pass the time, but realized this was a non-smoking area, so he gave up and put them back in his shirt pocket. All right. This is a bit of a detour, but you know Rika Furude-san, right? Of course. She's my friend. Did she ever tell you anything along the lines of her regularly taking insulin injections for diabetes? Rika-chan has diabetes? I didn't know what he was talking about. Actually, we found it in her skirt pocket. A syringe. I watched the anime long, long ago. It was destroyed, though, so we couldn't identify the medicine. It was a bit out of place, so I got interested. You really don't know anything. I didn't know anything about Rika-chan carrying syringes around with her. The Sonozaki family corporates are the Yakuza people. Anyway, there's rumors that they deal in psychostimulants. I was thinking that they might have something to do with it, too. Are you trying to tell me that Rika-chan is a drug addict? No, I'm trying to tell you that she was drugged against her will. No, not at all. That isn't what I'm saying. It just seems strange how you would look at that she would bring a syringe with her on her way to get soy sauce. I have no idea what any of this means. My eyes are spinning. I feel sick. Are you all right? Should I call a nurse? I'm fine. Please continue. Well, that's all I had to say about the syringe. It was the only thing that I found personally struck as interesting. Rika-chan. Rika-chan was all sorts of village mascot of all. It looks like the village is in uproar right now, between the older blind believers and the Sonozaki family who killed her. The 3 families' effective control over the village is basically in shambles, too. If someone came up to them with talk of a dam again, sort of timing, the entire village would be abandoned for sure this time. I'm not related to Hinmizawa anymore. I actually was. I just said it because the thought of Hinmizawa being abandoned was unpleasant, and I wanted to end the conversation quickly. There was a knock at the door. It opened slightly, and my mom asked if we were still talking. Whoops, we went off topic, didn't we? What a pickle. I looked at the clock. 5 minutes were long past. He told me Mother there was something he really wanted to ask, and if she could wait a little bit longer. Is that so? Keep it short, okay? There wasn't anything getting around the fact that she was thinking about what a police officer we talked to her son about. Maybe we should choose another day for this. Oishi-san? Mion. How is she right now? I wanted to just hear the answer and then get rid of him. Before I tell you that, I just need one thing from you. I just need you to answer something in all honesty. What is it? I want you to take your answers seriously. Got it? If you say something indiscreet, it can be viewed as an obstruction of the investigation, and you could be prosecuted. Oishi-san kept threatening me until the end. What the hell did he want? Mamura-san? Who do you think the criminal who pushed Shion from the balcony? Mion. There's no way it could be anyone but Mion, is there? Then who was the one who stabbed you? Mion? Please don't make me say it again. It was Mion. Mion Sonozaki. Oishi smiled bitterly, then dabbed at his forehead with a handkerchief to wipe his sweat. He should have expected that answer, yet it looked as though he wasn't satisfied with it. She pushed Shion and stabbed me. Didn't you just admit yourself that Mion was the criminal? The evidence we have that Mion killed Shion is based on testimony from the man living next door. The neighbor is actually a member of an organized crime group. In other words, he was Shion-san's bodyguard. It seems he's a veteran leader in that vein, and was like a parent to the Sonozaki sisters growing up. That man said this. The noise he heard from next door was just like the sound of a fight between sisters that he was used to hearing when they were still lived together. And no, there was no doubt about it. He said he heard Mion and Shion insulting each other, and heard them struggling. At first, though, he thought it was hallucination. She was having brought on by her dementia. You see, he thought that because the sort of ruckus had been occurring every night. However, that night had been longer than the rest, and he claimed that he went to the room to give her a sedative. The noise died down while he got the manager to give him the key. He'd already decided he'd at least check up on her, and after she wasn't answering the calls, they took a plunge and unlocked the door. Then they saw the room was a mess. Since Shion had been pushed over the balcony, they decided it must have been Mion, and that's how it happened. In other words, he only heard from the other side of the wall. Plus, because the apartment's complex compared to the organization, it doesn't have many residents, so they were the only ones who heard it happening. To reiterate, there was only one person who witnessed Mion Sonozaki. Even if he didn't see her, that it's obviously Mion's doing. Now settle down. This is what I'm saying. It means you are the only one who saw Mion Sonozaki for sure last night. After all, Shion-san, the other witness, is no longer alive. What are you trying to say? I don't really understand. At this point, Oishi-san paused. The fact that there was no smoking area completely slipped his mind. He took out his pack of cigarettes. For a check, he lit one with his finger, and exhaled a long stream of tobacco smoke. Were you really stabbed by Mion Sonozaki? Yes. There's no doubt about it. The smoke Oishi breathed out floated away like a thundercloud swept away by the wind. Oishi-san, you can't smoke in here. The nurses will get mad. Actually, we found Mion Sonozaki at the bottom of the well, too. So did she fling herself to her death after stabbing me? What? She fell to her death. We believe that as she was trying to escape to that hidden passage in the well, her foot slipped while climbing down the ladder. She fell to the bottom, broke her neck, and died. Yes, the same way as Shion-san. She broke her neck. Well, what? After you passed out that day, Mion Sonozaki tried... Which day? The day I was tased or the day I was stabbed? Mion Sonozaki tried to escape using the hidden well, but her foot slipped, and she died. As if beckoned by the corpses of the other sacrifices, she dropped down there. That also means that either Shion was arguing with Mion's ghost, or Shion was having an argument with herself and then killed herself, while thinking that she was being killed by... And then I was stabbed by a ghost. But that doesn't make any sense, does it? The autopsy came to the conclusion that she definitely died on that day. She didn't go back there after attacking you, and Shion-san. She was already dead by then. My jaw was on the floor. There was absolutely no way that could be. Mion was the one that stabbed me. It had to have been her. There wouldn't have been anyone else to do it. Then, who attacked Shion and me? Who was it? The one who attacked you was someone who was Mion Sonozaki and yet not Mion Sonozaki. My mind had been a complete mess, and I was starting to lose my ability to think straight. Do you remember how Mio Takano-san died? She was on fire, wasn't she? Eh? Takano-san? Ah, yes. I think I heard that she was burned to death in some distant mountains. We learned that she was burned after being strangled to death. The Gifu station did the autopsy. It's a little bit strange. The results of the preliminary autopsy said that she had been dead for at least 24 hours. Since that was contradictory in their panic, they seem to have revised it to say she died earlier that day. Despite me being an absolute wreck over what was going on with Mion, he was telling me there was even more on top of that. I didn't understand the complex things Oishi-san was telling me. The results saying she had been dead for 24 hours, as our own criminologist says. Okay, by this logic, it would mean that the Takano-san, the real nurse Takano-san, was already dead before the Watanagashi. And that whoever was impersonating her is the one who brought me, Jiro, and Shion into the... It's pretty damn reliable. So then, what would that mean? I've asked the question over and over. But on the night of the Watanagashi, you were with Mio Takano-san, weren't you? I was. You also met her on the day before while setting up for the festival, right? I mean, I ran into her too. Yes, I was with her then. If she'd been dead for 24 hours, then that would mean she was already dead the day before the festival. Huh. That can't be. She was alive during the festival preparations. However, when you slipped in the ritual storehouse, Takano-san was already dead. The origin of all that happened, the beginning of everything, our intrusion in the ritual storehouse, which I had come to regret countless times, the one who tempted me, Takano-san. When she invited us into the storehouse, she was already no longer of this world? There are too many dead people walking around in this incident. An incident caused by a dead person and ended by a dead person. Also, apparently, they're under pressure to revise the time of Mion Sonozaki's death, not to the day of the incident, but to right after she stabbed you. I mean, I'm having trouble processing it, so I guess it would make sense for them to probably pressure outside to get this incident wrapped up already. So I'd appreciate if you didn't say a word about this to anyone. Ocean grabbed his jacket that was hanging on the chair, put out a cigarette in the bottom of his foot, and started pretending to wave away the smoke floating around. I've stayed too long. I'd come here thinking I could at least end this incident as it applied to you, but it looks like it got even more baffling instead. Absent-mindedly, he walked towards the door, looking at me, unable to speak, out of the corner of his eye. You know what would be kind of cool? Like, these games have, like, the after-party stuff, where all the characters talk about the role they played in the story. What if there was, like, Evangelion with Shinji, Rei, Asuka, and Kaoru? Or what about even a visual novel of Overlord with, Ainzel Gon, or Reincarnated Slime, Rimuru Tempest? And you got to actually have similar things with them where they talk about their roles and I don't know. Heck, that reminds me. Season 3 of Overlord, Episode 13, the voice actor commentary is of Climb, Brain Unglas, and Gazif Stronovs. Their voice actors are talking, and the whole time Gazif's voice actor is like talking over his like Gazif and Irons is having the duel, and Gazif's voice actor is like, "Come on, man, just join Irons." It's like, because even the person doing the voice acting for Gazif Stronov was like, you know what? Really, if I was in that situation, I just would have joined Ainz. Like, I understand why my character's doing it, but I'm like, dude, just at this point, you should just join Ainz Ulgon at that point. So, kind of funny. If it so happens that something comes up to you, want to talk about in the future. If it so happens that something comes up you want to talk about in the future, call me anytime. My business card is in those souvenirs from before. Okay, I at least appreciate the offer. When that time comes, I'll pay you a visit with some wonderful souvenirs again. Oshi-san seemed to think I was still hiding something. That I, after all this, would be hiding something. Or just have terrible memory at this point. We did get stabbed. Blood loss, probably not the best. Also, the repeated tasings probably did not help the memory. And the one thing are being hidden. I'm the one who wants heck. My real-life me has short-term memory issues. One, aging, maybe? Also, at one point in the past, actually at several points in my past, I had different reasons at different times, but I've had a lot of times of sleep deprivation. But there was a period of time where I was sleeping, I think for a couple years, I was sleeping about 1 hour a night, and that is not good for you. Sleep deprivation is not good for the brain. And even when you return to proper sleep, it has long-term effects. Also, I've had lots of concussions, lots of blows to the head. I've been poisoned. I've been hit in the head over and over. I've been izakai'd. Been literally hit by a fucking truck. I've gotten like a dozen plus staples left side of my skull. I've had an issue where I've had meningitis and encephalitis. So I had swelling of the brain and swelling of the spinal cord. I also had a spinal tap. That's fucking sucked. So, also apparently depression and PTSD also have negative effects on memory and mood and stuff. So, yay me, I'm so lucky with a grab bag assortment of many different things I could point to as why my short-term memory has been, well, gone to shit and seems to be getting worse. I'm 38. At times I worry that I'm going to wind up having a fucking Alzheimer's disease or some shit before I'm 50. Because sometimes my short-term memory is just getting bad. Heck, maybe one day the doctor will just give me a bunch of antidepressant pills and anti-Alzheimer pills and shit. Then let us meet again one day. Take care of yourself and don't get stabbed again. Or shocked, slam, or kidnapped, or anything. And listen to the tap 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 tip tippy tap tip tap 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 of Oshi-san walking down the hallway. I still didn't return from my state of bewilderment. He wanted to end this incident as it applied to me. Was what was over. Nothing was over. The incident was still continuing. I'm just saying, if we see anyone again at this point, we should not. Hello? Then, slip, an arm covered in fresh blood came out from underneath the bed. I wasn't that surprised. This was an illusion I was seeing, seized with fear. Kei-chan, I told you, remember? I heard a guttural voice coming from under the bed. I still recognized it as Mion's voice. What? Mion? What did you tell me? I warned you on that day. After today, if you see me, it will be the demon that has possessed my body. Ha ha ha, you did. You said that, didn't you? Sorry, guess I wasn't careful enough. That's why I got stabbed. Ha ha. Possibly. Wounds sustained when she fell from the ladder. Many of her fingernails were broken and torn. Her arms slowly felt about on top of the bed, searching for mine. Oh, hey, Mion? I just, thought of a good joke. Want to hear it? The Mion under the bed didn't answer. Let's say that I died here today, but tomorrow I'd still be here living a normal life. So when Oshi-san learned about it afterwards, the time of death wouldn't make sense once again. He'd make a huge deal about how someone who should have died and was alive, and he'd totally lose his head. Takano-san, then Mion, and then me third. So, funny, right? Makes you laugh, doesn't it? Ha 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 ha. Kei-chan. Laugh. Or was it not funny? Mion's bloodstained hand groped around and found my wrist. Though her fingernails were torn, she gripped it hard as if scratching me. Ow, ow, ow. Go easy. Ow, it hurts. Kei-chan, I've come for you. I tried to shake my wrist loose, but the strength she held it with was unbelievable, and I couldn't. She was only gripping one wrist, and yet my whole body wouldn't move. I couldn't even twitch. My fingers were spread apart, and I couldn't make a fist either. And that fact that I couldn't make a fist reminded me of the restraining table. I felt a crooked nail press against my left pinky fingertip. Mion's forehead was split open. With a face covered with blood, she smiled and got right up in front of my nose. Nothing was over. Nothing was over. This incident was far from being over. It was still going on. It was still happening. Someone, please end this incident. This cruel, tragic, unfortunate, sad incident. Please end it. That is my only wish. I granted you one before, remember? You don't get any more. Ah ha 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 ha. Mion firmly held the nail down on my fingertip, and with her other hand she slowly swung a mallet up into the air and... A new scenario. All cast review session become available to play. Unlock extra menu. All cast review, and then pick Watanagashi. Speaking of sleep deprivation, I need to go to bed. Because, work. I've already... But... I just wanted to see what my options are. Cool. Thank you very much for enjoying Higurashi When They Cry, Watanagashi, Chapter 2, the second game in the series. How did you like the story this time? If you enjoyed it even a little, I'm happy. A little nothing! I died off screen! Not again! It was a huge bad ending, was it not? It is enough to make me simply furious. I'm furious. Did you ever get your soy sauce? Well, good work, everyone. That's how it ended, but don't you think the story was kind of like a Mion chapter? I'm extremely satisfied how big a role I played. Yahaha. You cannot call such a thing a success. Rika and I got killed too, didn't we? None of this concerns Satoko at all, either. Well, I didn't want to die like that. Now, don't cry. There was a story centering around Mi-chan, and so there will probably be one that centers around Satoko-chan too. Look forward to it. It's not like it'll be a happy story. Satoko would definitely get attacked by a crowd of weirdo bullies and abused to death. Wah! I don't want that! Wah! Mi-chan, if you joke around too much, you'll make me angry too. Mi has a flat chest. Your mind wouldn't understand even if it wanted to be petted. Oh, they expanded. Your body is so unchaste. Hey everyone! I keep dying at the start of the fucking games. Great work. Sorry we're late again. Tomotaki-san, Oishi-san. Yes, you did a great job as well. Where are Takano-san and Shion-chan? They're coming, of course. Thank you for inviting us today. May I sit here? Yes, go right ahead. With all of us here, this is sure to be the best part. Please, go easy on me. Then should we get started? Is this everyone? Everyone but Kaiichi. Which means Maburo-kun still doesn't have a portrait. So are we going to read the scripts for the next story immediately? How unfortunate. It doesn't feel right to leave him out. Mio-san, you don't have to worry about that. At times like these, going all out is actually a way of showing consideration. That's true, isn't it? We're all here for once. Holding a wake would be boring. Ha 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 ha, then, sorry Keiichi-kun, but we'll take things from here. It's decided. Okay everyone, get the cups. Does anyone not like carbonated drinks? There's alcohol for the adults too. Rika-chan, what will you have? Cola? Juice? Vodka! Me? I want what Tamataki's having. Hey! Rika-chan, you're not allowed to drink. Has everyone got their cups? If we don't make a toast soon, my juice will get warm. There is now vodka in the juice. Who will lead me on? Rena should do it. Okay, Rena, go ahead. Then, ahem. Everyone, excellent work. The Watanagashi chapter is now over. Thank you. Wow. Clap, 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 clap. Thank you. Congratulations! 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 I wonder if anyone gets that reference. Okay, everybody's here. Shall we debate the story again? I think so. Then, let's get some honest opinions. Does anyone here have something to say? An honest opinion? Was the story this time not an answer chapter? The criminal was Mion-san. The root of all the evil was the Sonozaki family. Was that not the conclusion? I see. I was so sure that Mi-chan wasn't the criminal. Too naive. This was entirely predictable from the previous Onokushi chapter, was it not? In fact, it's almost shocking how predictable it was. You're right. It was probably did align with most of the predictions, maybe players, of the previous scenario. It's like the story went exactly as everyone expected. Then, does that mean the main higurashi when they cry scenario is pretty much over, so it's a sure thing that the root of everything was Mi-chan's family? I wonder. In fact, I think this all means the theory of the Sonozakis being the guilty party has been disproven. Oh, you had the same opinion, Mio-san. I think the same way. Though I still don't believe in curses. At the very least, however, I think the chances of the Sonozaki family being the true criminals has gone down. Huh? Why is that? Didn't Mi-chan confess that she killed everyone? That's right. She killed Rika and me. So what do you mean that she isn't the criminal after all that? I'm not trying to confuse you or anything. It's just I think there are a lot of things that don't go along with Mion being the one behind everything. If you think about it a little, you'll get it. Huh. I had believed the truth to be more or less in line with Sonozaki family theory, but I'd love to hear your theory, Mi-chan-chan. Then hear me out. Near the end, I confessed that I participated in the past instance, right? I thought something really wasn't right about that, so I guess that's my basis. I mean, think about it. If the incidents of the past were caused by the Sonozaki family, that would be crazy. I mean, wouldn't they all be perfect crimes? They were all attributed to other criminals or simple accidents, after all. Well, that's right. The Sonozaki family is very powerful, and they were acting behind the scenes. Wouldn't pulling off perfect crimes be child's play for them? That's just it. That's the weird thing. The Sonozaki family had been killing and erasing people so well for the last 4 years they didn't even let out a hint that they were behind it, right? But the incident in the 5th year, now that was really cheap. They were killing and erasing people at random. Any idiot could have seen the connection with the Sonozaki family. Now that I think about it, you're right. The incidents in the past were all mysterious, and nobody could tell they were because of the curse or simple crimes. But then, on the 5th year, they suddenly got really violent. I do not understand what you're saying. Rika, do you? She means that if the Sonozaki family were the real criminals, then they would have done a much, much better job of the incident on the 5th year. So what does that mean? Mion-san wasn't the one who killed Rika and me, but it was the work of the demon who possessed Mion-san? Come now. Just like I thought last time, Mion-san wasn't a bad person after all, was she? That's right. Satoko-chan and I both thought that she was doing bad things because she was possessed by something. Then does that mean our theory was right? I've been supporting the curse theory since the last party, and the story this time makes me all the more convinced it's true. The fact revealed at the very end, the information regarding how Mion-san and Takano-san died days before despite being witnessed, seems to indeed support that theory. Oh my. I see the curse believers who seemed unconfident last time have grown quite a bit more self-assured. Do any of you think it was a human who have any objections? Last time Mi-chan and Rika-chan were the ones who thought it was the work of a person. Toмотaki-san too, didn't he? Okay, let's hear what you got then. You got me there. I can quite find the right words. One of the pieces of evidence for the curse theory is that the mismatching times of death, right? So if I could disprove that theory, it would prove that a human did it, wouldn't it? Oh, Shion, do you have a good objection? Well, I suppose I have the same opinion as you, Mion, that it was a human, but I don't think the Sonozaki family were the main culprits either. If it's okay with you, I'll offer my objections. Ooh, show us what you've got if you say it wasn't the curse. Let's hear your evidence. Okay, Shion-chan, the last trick we've been talking about. Despite Mion-chan having died the day of the incident and falling into the well, how did she appear days later to kill you and Keiichi-kun? Here it is, my Sonozaki sister's conspiracy theory. My reason is simple. If Mion was dead by that time, the only one who could have stabbed Kei-chan was me. I disguised myself as Mion and stabbed him. And then I went back to my room, pretended to have a tussle with a ghost, and then jumped right down and killed myself. So when you got down to Mion-chan, in this case it would be the one to take the blame. She would then take care of the mayor in person, and Shion-chan would be the one made merely a victim. If she hid herself in the well, then disguise Shion-chan and cover up the place murder, whoever she wanted, all planned from the start. I get it. The Mion-san made two mistakes. First was that her corpse was found, and the second was dying when she only planned to hide. That was what it meant. Oh, well now. You're right. There's something logical about that. However, I'm still not convinced. It was too different from the magnificent perfect crimes of the past. Even if their plan went well, Mion would end up the bad guy, wouldn't she? She would either have to hide the rest of her life or live pretending to be Shion, wouldn't she? That wouldn't be too constrained. Oh, that would make sense. There's also the fact that what if it would have been originally, what if the person who tased me took the prisoner out and then you can't call that a perfect crime. In other words, whether a dying or disappearing Mi-chan would have to go either way. Rika-chan, that's a good thought. That means we should consider that Mion and Sonozaki leaving the stage as part of their plan. That's why at the end, Mion took the blame for all incidents in the past. She took responsibility for herself and left. By doing that, she could cover up the true culprit behind the past incidents. Which means that this once it wasn't too shabby with purposes meant all the past incidents of perfect crimes. So I suppose that's what it comes down to. The young leader of Sonozaki was the biggest suspect, confessed to everything, and disappeared. For her, or perhaps for the Nonosaki's true culprit, there's likely no more favorable outcome. I don't understand even an inch of your conversation. What do you mean by Mion-san taking the blame? Is she not the culprit? Let me put it this way. The true culprit behind the serial freak incidents was somebody else. Mi-chan gave a fake confession that she caused all the previous incidents. Or so everything was saying. My, I said this during the story, but it seems we have an incredible detective on our hands. Yes, it does seem a bit persuasive. An instant started to throw the scent of the true criminal. That's my reasoning. Though, if I go further, I think the true culprit isn't part of the Sonozaki family. So it's me to chance disrupting the incident to further protect mystery person who pulled off the perfect crimes 4 years running then. That's right. The site foreman only appeared in the name in the last story. Pretty suspicious if you ask me. Also, Mion would have been like... If you ask me, but this is amazing. It really does add all up. Clap, clap. I'm both trying to rush because I want to go to bed, and because I'm extremely tired. I'm starting to fall asleep while we're fucking. I still think it's Onosaki family and the sisters are the culprits. So in the future, I will have to do much shorter parts for the sake of the people watching the videos, but also so I don't wind up in a situation like this where I'm both falling asleep and trying to rush through the story. It'd be better if I could just take it slowly and read through the story as slow. Fuck, I need to go to bed. An incident caused by sisters to sever their old fetters of 3 families to clear away the past. That's my theory. Clearing away the past? You mean that they replaced the blame for the 3 families' crimes on the final leader, Mion, to an end of the dark history and then 2 of them left. That's right. It would make it a sad story where the sisters ended after a lot of worry. Ah, we went a little bit far. Amazing. It really does all add up. Clap, 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 clap. Wait, what? It looked like Rika-chan has an opinion too. Go ahead, Rika-chan. I have a question for you all. Why did Keiichi need to get stabbed? We already know why that is, Rika. It's obvious, because he went to the Forbidden Storehouse without asking. Thinking back on it now, Tomotaki-san and Katsuki probably died in a previous story because they snuck into that storehouse too, eh? Giggle. That is rather strange indeed. Huh? What is it that's strange? Ah, Renaissance, that's right. Won't you think back, please? That's right. In the previous scenario, they were after Keiichi's life, even though he didn't sneak into the rituals. Yeah, it's because he was rude. Because he laughed and jeered at Oryoshiro-sama. He disrespected Oryoshiro-sama. Remember. Well, that's because, yeah, Hinamizawa hates outsiders, right? That's why they tried to kill Keiichi-kun. Well, no, he was still welcome as an outsider. It was just, Keiichi-kun was targeted for 2 reasons. One, he was initially shunned a little bit because he mocked Oryoshiro-sama and didn't take it seriously. And it was seen as very disrespectful and sacrilegious. But things ramped up and became more serious, along with, the issues with Rena and Mion, because I started talking to Oushi-san and cooperating with the police with their investigations on who killed the people at the dam stuff. Simply put, I mocked their god, and I started cooperating with the police and helping them find, So, basically, both of those are betrayals of the city. That would be strange, though. They should have attacked Kei-chan's parents, too, in that case. No matter how you look at it, his parents never seem to be in much danger. Either this time or the last. Here, everyone thinks it's humans doing. Unless you can probably explain Keiichi's life is threat, you can't definitely prove the criminal is human, can you? Nah. Even with the curse theory, however, we don't know why Mabura-san was attacked this time or the last. With a little more, we could have doubted. There are still a lot of mysteries remaining. Giggles. You can't find some reason for everyone but Keiichi-kun to die, but for some reason, Keiichi's death is always vague. Both this time and last time. He was being targeted regardless of whether he went into the ritual storehouse. I mean, we definitely died both times. Then does that mean he was doing something that got him killed both last time and not this time? Because last time we clawed out our own throat after calling from a payphone, and this time I assume a demon possessed us, and then we killed ourselves while hallucinating that Mion was killing us. If we can find something uncommon about Mabura-kun's actions between last time and this time, it seems it would be the key to unraveling this incident. I skimmed all through the stories again, but I think he's going about his life in his own way. Though, aside from the part of the storehouse, I don't spot anything suspicious about his daily lifestyle. Keiichi-kun, what did you do both last time and this time? Something bad that would cause you to be killed? It's best to ask the person himself when you're unsure. Oh, so while I was reading the script for the next game all by myself, you were all talking about me behind my back, huh? I see. Well, that's that. Anyway, Keiichi-kun, you should try Ask Your Own Heart. Kei-chan, so what kind of bad thing did you do that would get you killed? It must surely be all the violent things he does toward me. Squeezing my chest so tightly was surely a crime. Yeah, being happy all day surrounded by girls around his age is kind of like a crime in the first place. Nahaha, a grave crime indeed. Mamura-san is truly an envious main character, isn't he? Switch out with me once in a while, would you? Cuckoo. Well, if all those perks getting stabbed at the end really isn't much of a price to pay. Well, there you go, Keiichi-san. Have you remembered the crimes you've committed? Mega! Both this time and last time I live a proper and just life, and I always meet a terrible fate in the end. What was that about Ask My Own Heart? I am the one who wants to know. This is bullying. How sad, how sad. I'll pet your head next time for you. I wonder if we should go back and read Onokakushi again after reading this one. I'm going to put myself in Mion's shoes and read back over Watanagashi. Maybe I'll find something different compared to when I read it from Kei-chan's point of view. I will always think it was the doing of a demon. All of the events and the tricks can be explained with a demon. It's kind of like plasma. What did you, the readers, think about it? We'd certainly like to hear your thoughts and opinions. Will the developers of this game ever listen to any of my Let's Plays? And if they do, I apologize for nothing. I know I'm ruining your game, but I'm not saying sorry. Except for all the times I read it in the text. Like heck, the Onokakushi chapter 1 started with saying I'm sorry. So, through the mail, is there an address? Well, to everyone who put up with me being as cringe as possible, being myself, thanks for hanging out. And thanks for enjoying the Watanagashi after party. I'll see you again in Chapter 3, a word that I can't pronounce. Higurashi Chapter 1. Onokakushi. I said it when the words were there, but Onokakushi. And then Chapter 2 is Watanagashi. Chapter 3 is Tatari Goroshi. Chapter 4 is Himat Subushi. Chapter 5 is Miyakashi. Chapter 6 is Tatsumi Horoboshi. Chapter 7 is Mina Goroshi. Chapter 8 is Matsurabayashi. Chapter 9 is called Ray. And Chapter 10 is Ho Plus. Hou Plus. Well, actually, it's just all of them say Ho, but this one's plus. I know, eventually one of them's a questions and answers arc. Does Ray mean questions in this situation? Is that the questions arc? And would be the plus thing be the answers arc? I don't know. Or is it a prequel? I can't remember. I don't know. Anyway, I need to go to bed. And I will try to do shorter videos in the past, even though that means it'll take much longer to get through the stories. Right. It is currently April 10th, 2025, 1:53 p.m. Ohio time. Well, I'll leave you guys with the sounds of the cicadas, with the sounds of the higurashi, and apparently there's many other words that cicadas can be called, but yeah. Higurashi when they cry. It's good anime. Maybe after I'm done with all the games that I mentioned, since it's the end of game number 2, maybe the developers of this game will make a new one. Who knows? Good night, everybody. I hope you have all the hug pats, all the hugs and my own. I can't even figure out what word to say to describe how I'm talking, but I hope all of you out there are getting good sleep. In general, even though I'm not going to get a great deal of sleep today before work, I'll say this. Even today, while most people consider it sleep deprivation within itself, while most people consider the amount of sleep I'm getting today to be sleep deprivation, there was a time that the sleep I would be getting today would be more sleep than I'd get in an entire week. That was really not healthy for me. Then again, the amount of sleep I'm getting right now today probably is not healthy, but in general, I have been sleeping better. Heck, these past year and a half, this past year, I'll say this. Well, my current current third shift factory job is a bit of work and a little bit of stress here and there. It's at least much better than my previous third shift job. But in general, one, I've been sleeping better this past year. And I would say the years before that, while a bit of sleep deprivation was going on, I was still sleeping better then than I was before that. So, I'm going to try to take getting proper sleep better more seriously. Okay? I'm still going to be making videos. Heck, even if I was suddenly a billionaire, I didn't have to work a fucking factory job at all, I'd still be making these videos. And heck, I've never made a cent from these videos. I never will. I make them just because I want to make them. But I'll say this. The only thing that would change if I suddenly was rich and didn't have to work would be I'd spend a lot of time probably actually trying to learn German. Or playing guitar, or watching some anime, or playing more video games. Or maybe I'd try to be more sociable. I would definitely get a therapist. I'd actually be able to afford it. I did see one a couple times briefly shortly after my divorce. It was funny. It was about half a year after my divorce was official, and about a year after I got the 3-inch scar on my right arm, when I was actually able to start admitting that that counts as abuse and domestic violence and stuff like that. And a lot of things were just really... Then again, I've had a lot of time to rethink over a lot of things over the entirety of my life that were not good to me, and I think it's helped me to at least deal with certain emotions in regards to lots of traumatic things that have occurred throughout the entirety of my life, and lots of things that occurred long before I was even an adult that were not exactly emotionally healthy. So, I think that has been a major step in being better. And that being said, I did spend a lot of time talking about a lot of things. Heck, between the times I walked on the bike trail just talking to myself, heck, last July during a heat wave, didn't bring any water, didn't wear any sunblock. I got lost in thought thinking about certain things. By the time I got home, I had walked for 23 plus miles. I was limping for weeks after that. I still have... My neck is still discolored from how bad that sunburn was. And I did seriously almost pass out multiple times on that walk. I wonder, if I had passed out, would anyone have found me? Would I have eventually woken up at all? And been able to get back up and go to my car and get home? Or would I have just kept lying there, overheated with heat stroke, dehydrated, passed out, in the middle of the bike trail, all alone? Maybe I would have woken up in the middle of the night, completely dark. I probably would have been quite scared if I was, mentally well enough from the dehydration to be aware of what was even going on. That being said, I don't think I've walked more than 5 miles max on that bike trail since then. I still go quite frequently, I make sure to have water. I make sure, heck, if it's that fucking, it was a fucking heat wave. Like, there was actually a straight up fucking heat advisory. Like, the Weather Channel was telling people that they shouldn't go outside too much out of concern for how fucking bright the sun was. And apparently there was also, like, the thing where, like, there's extra UV, and that's a concern. Even though right now it's like 57 degrees Fahrenheit because, it's April. But it was some point in July, I think. It was either very late June or any point in July. Could have been early, mid, late July. I don't know. I can't remember. I know I made video the day of showing how bad one of my arms got burnt. I peeled so much. Heck, my whole face and ears peeled. Thankfully, there's no permanent leftover mark on any of the rest of my body from that. But my neck is still discolored from that. Even though it's... What? I mean, if it happened in July, then August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. So 9 months ago? But, yeah, I'm careful to bring some water, and heck, on days that it's that hot again, I just don't even go out there. But I hadn't even planned to walk that much. I was really lost in thought about things. I mean, I don't listen to music or anything while I'm on the bike trail. I either tend to walk in silence, either just listening to the wind, or thinking in my head, or talking out loud to myself. Heck, most of my life I bottled up all my feelings. About 15 years ago, I went through some bad things. There was several things that happened that I wasn't okay with. one of which my older sister died. But yeah, I wound up talking off the ears of a lot of my friends. I annoyed them a lot, but I still appreciate they listened to me. Though they're all gone now. I mean, I can't blame them. They have their own lives, and they all moved really far away. But they're still my friends. And I appreciate that they listened to me when I did open up about stuff, and even then there were so many things I didn't tell them. But it was just, I needed to be able to talk. And I really did enjoy all the times when we were younger. When we were teenagers and we were hanging out and playing video games. I really did view my friends as if they were my brothers. They were my best friends. I haven't heard from any of them, and I don't even know if they even remember I exist. But yeah, I was just a little lost in thought. I didn't mean to walk that far. And heck, I remember as a little kid when I was real young, like 7 years old, I'd walk to the park by myself and talk to my toys. Because I'll always like stuffed animals. Though I still live in the same 2-bedroom I lived in when I was married. I've been here in this place for such a long time now. Though I do worry sometimes I might not be able to afford to pay rent. Sometimes kinda getting close to living paycheck to paycheck. I don't really make a ton, and rent and things are a bit expensive. I'm at least not really spending money on Steam games anymore. So I spend money on food, and that's basically it. I don't even spend money on anime or anything anymore. Heck, I think the only video game I'm planning to get, and I already have the money, I have $31.87 currently on my Steam account. And the only game I'm planning to buy is Union Rhythm Psychosis. That looks like it'd be a fun game. Other than that, I have lots of games I can always come back to on my Steam accounts, or other things I can do. But I guess I lend really well to Let's Plays. Not only am I a person that just normally in my most normal life is what's normal for me is I don't really talk. I'm usually very, very quiet. I think I've talked more in any given year of my doing these Let's Plays than I have in the entire rest of my life, including the times I talked off my friends' ears. And no, I'm not counting all the times I talked to myself, which again, not in a crazy way, more so in just a way of just talking and reminiscing about stuff, or understanding things, or just ruminating or going over things, or trying to understand things, or to think about how I feel about things, or just to think about the past and try to understand things, or just maybe it's just straight up loneliness and you want someone to talk to, so I just talk to myself. That, and I always liked Let's Plays. I remember when YouTube first really started. Ultra J-Man, Freelance Astronauts. I really enjoyed... Freelance Astronaut did like Pepsi Man and Prototype and Mass Effect and a bunch of Legend of Zelda mods. They were really hilarious. Some worms. It's a little game with worms shooting like bazookas and stuff at each other. It's cool. I remember lots of Let's Players watching, and I really enjoyed watching those Let's Plays. Slow Beef with Dead Rights, Proton John. Heck, back when Lunar Magic did all the fucking Super Mario World ROM hacks, Kaizo Mario World and all that shit. Zeta Plays. Heck, he still makes videos. He's got that little Wheel of Fortune thing. Heck, I'm the one who requested he play Dragon Spirit the New Legend. Heck, I remember watching him play the original Minecraft games, or even when the Nether first came out. I think the Nether was better back then. But, yeah. I really enjoyed watching so many Let's Plays. Heck, I remember a guy named Tatsudoshi, and Ultra J-Man did like Battle Kid games, Fortress of Peril, Mountain of Torment, Bonesaw, Petunia X. He did I Want to Be the Guy, him and Cloud8745. Also, Ultra J-Man and Rom Scout did a game called How to Be a Complete Bastard, which is like a very, very old game. And the funniest part about it was just the commentary. But again, I just really enjoyed Let's Plays way back then, and I just always wanted to do Let's Plays, and I just didn't really have... Though it's funny, back then, absolutely nobody made money in any way from it. I'm not knocking people that do, it's just... It's crazy how things have changed, and people try to make stuff into like a career now. Whereas, I'm not trying to have any delusions of grandeur here. I'm just some crazy guy who works in a factory and comes home and talks to his computer. That's all I am. There's nothing special about me. I really have no value. I'm worthless. I'm not skilled or good at anything or have any value or any reason for anyone to care about me at all. So, but hey, at least I'm good at talking for fucking ever, apparently. Hell, for the first 5 years after my divorce, I spent a couple hours a day sitting in my son's room talking to his stuffed animals, with the exceptions of the days he came over on the weekends. But I'm alienated from now for the most part. I'm hoping that gets better. But I've already explained in depth everything about that. Not that anyone's really going to have the patience to sort through all the videos and community posts where I discussed everything. At no point is any part of me, I don't know, coherent or organized. It's like I said, it's just some random dude fucking rambling to himself. Just some crazy guy sitting in front of his computer who really needs to go to bed so I can wake up and go back to a factory job. Where, honestly, every day at my factory job is me just trying to do my job well enough that I don't accidentally die or something with the machines that I work with. Or get hurt, or fuck up in some way to get fired. You know, I'm just trying to get through the day. I'm just trying to do a good job. I mean, I work my hardest. I do my best. But in the day, I'm just trying to not fuck up. I'm just trying not to do a bad job. I'm just trying not to get hurt. Because I work with a lot of machines where, you know, you have to be careful. Or else, you know, something really bad could happen. I mean, there's lots of things I work with that are a lot of moving parts to where, you know, if you don't watch what you're doing, you know, you could die. So, I mean, it's not as dangerous as I'm making it sound. It's just common sense. You know, there's things I work with that are, you know, if you're not watching what you're doing, you know, I mean, it'd be very easy to just die. Painfully. But, you know, I do my best to not do that, and I do my best not to fuck up. I don't really enjoy my job, but it's better than the previous job I was doing, and I'm at least making enough to be able to pay my rent. Not much beyond that. But hey, it's fine. I don't need to buy new clothes ever again. You know. But yeah, it's just... I can't complain. Besides, between YouTube, I have all the access to games, and I can watch other people do Let's Plays too. And I've gotten a good deal of Steam games, and I've gotten them all like super high discounts, because I would usually just wait till something like 90% off. But even discounting that aside, I mean, I have lots of books, and I mean, heck, I have the complete collection of Shakespeare, and Edgar Allan Poe, and the Canterbury Tales, and the Odyssey, the story of Odysseus. I have the actual book. I have lots of manga and light novels and tons of anime DVDs. And I have certainly quite a few games on my PlayStation. So, I really shouldn't complain. My main concern is I just want to make enough money to pay my rent. So I can still have a place to live. And of course, I still go in my son's room every day, but it's usually just 15 minutes that I'm sitting in there talking to them, his stuffed animals. Sometimes I'll stay in there a bit longer. Usually I'll try to, if it gets too long, I'll be like, after 40 minutes, I'm like, okay, I need to get on with my day. But like I said, the job's not bad. It's just, I just need to watch what I'm doing, be careful. And like I said, that's the main thing. I'm just trying not to fuck up and get hurt or lose my job, just so I can make enough money to pay rent. I really can't complain. Life isn't bad. I'm still alive. But yeah, I feel like I was going to say something, but I can't remember what it was. I should end the video. Bye.